Go ahead and do problems number 4, 5, and 6. Let's actually see if we can do all 7. I'm going to do them quick, so make sure you pause if I'm going too quick for you. Number 4 said 6 times x minus 2 equals 6x minus 12. So again, we're going to distribute. 6x minus 12 equals 6x minus 12. So this is like what we were talking about in the last video. It's exactly the same thing on both sides, which means that you could pretty much put anything in for x. Not pretty much. You can put anything in for x. And it's going to be a true equation. So all real numbers or infinite answer is going to be the answer. Next one, 3x minus a negative 2 is equal to negative 6. And this whole thing is being divided by 3. First thing I'm always going to do is whenever I have minus a negative, I'm going to distribute. This is really a negative 1. So I'm going to distribute my negative 1 in there and make it plus 2. Okay, so it's really minus a negative is just going to be plus 2. Next, because the whole thing's being divided by 3, I'm going to multiply this side by 3, and if I got to do it on both sides, negative 18, which equals, those cancel out, 3x plus 2. I'm going to subtract 2 on both sides. 3x equals negative 20, divide by 3. So at this point, again, you can leave, this is totally appropriate, x equals negative 20 over 3. That would be okay. If you want to divide, 3 goes into 20 6 times, and you're left with 2 remainders. So you could say a negative 6 2/3. Remember, if the fraction's negative, the mixed number is going to be negative. Or you can go ahead and go 20 divided by 3, and that would be a negative. And if you want to do a decimal, you can add a 0.0. So it goes in 6 times, remainder of 2, bring down the 0. 3 goes into 20 3 times. 2, add a 0, and you're going to notice that it's going to repeat. So 3 goes into 20. Oh, I'm sorry. 3 goes into 26 times, and then 6. So any of these answers would have been appropriate. Negative 2, 20 over 3, negative 6 2/3, or negative 6 and 66/100ths repeating. Number 6. 4x minus 2 over 5, which equals 6x minus 2. So here, because the whole side is being divided by 5, I'm going to multiply by 5. But remember, you have to multiply this whole side by 5. So I'm going to put it outside the parentheses and make sure I distribute. So I get 30x minus 10 is equal to 4x minus 2. I'm just going to solve this. I'm going to subtract 4x so that I move it over and combine it with the 30x. You have to actually move it to the other side by doing the opposite. 26x minus 10, which equals negative 2. Add 10 on both sides. 8 equals 26 over x. Last step is going to be to divide by 26, so I can get x alone. And I have a fraction, 8/26. So that's, that's less than 1. So I'm going to have to reduce it. I could divide by 2 and get 4/13. So x equals 4/13. Last one. 1/3 x minus 2/6 equals 1/5 x minus 4. So we talked about this in class. One of the things that you can do is multiply the entire thing by a multiple of 3, 6, and 5, which would be 30. But in this problem, I'm not going to do that, but I just want you to know that you are allowed to do that. What I notice is that I'm just going to make equivalent fractions to these fractions so that we can add and subtract them easier. Please remember, though, if you were to multiply the whole thing by 30, don't forget about the negative 4. You'd have to multiply that by 32. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn 1/3 into 10 30ths. 2/6 into 2/6 is 10 30ths. 1/3. I'm sorry, you know what? I got a little confused there, but remember, 2/6 and 1/3 are the same fraction, so of course they're going to equal the same equivalent fraction. So they're both 10 30ths. See, even I make mistakes sometimes. And then 1/5 is going to be times 6 times 6, 6 30ths minus 4. So remember, you don't have to do anything with the 4 because you just made these fractions into equivalent fractions. You didn't multiply everything by the same number that you would have done if you multiply by 30. All right, so now we're going to put all the, let's put the variables on the same side. So I'm going to subtract 6/30 x because that is a positive 6/30 x. And 10/30 minus 6/30 is 4/30 x minus 10/30, which equals -4. Now, right here, I'm going to have to bring this 10/30 over to the other side. So what I can do is turn a whole number 4 over 1 into a fraction with a denominator of 30. So we're just going to, just like we would with a, equivalent fraction, times 30 times 30. You get, instead of -4, I'm just going to change this to a -120 over 30. Now it's going to be really, really easy to add 10/30 to both sides. I have a -120 plus positive 10, so it's going to be I'm going to do it over here, -110 over 30, which equals 4/30 x. Now, we're not adding and subtracting anymore, so if I want, I could reduce 4/30 to 2/15. And I could divide each of these by 10, reduce this by 10, and make it -11 over 3. And I could do that because I'm not adding and subtracting anymore. I'm just going to be multiplying and dividing. So you could always reduce fractions if you don't need them in a certain form. So we're going to get rid of the 2/15. We're going to cancel it out by multiplying by the reciprocal, 15 over 2 times 15 over 2. And I could cancel out diagonally by dividing by 3. And I end up with the fraction -55 over 2. And again, you could leave it like that, or you could have found the mixed number. 2 goes into 55 22 times, so it would be -22.5. Or you could have done -22 and 5/10 or 0.5. All right, hope that helps. And remember, we are the problems that you had for homework, which were the word problems, they're not going to be on the test, but I am going to throw one of the consecutive integer problems on this quiz. But otherwise, the word problems will not be on this quiz. It's just going to be straight computation. Hope you have a good weekend. Bye-bye.